I left before sunrise, chasing a 5 a.m. train across Uzbekistan just to find this place. A travel book cover come to life, and a group of girls dancing in front of an over 900 years old minaret. This is Bukhara, a city worth waking up early for. I honestly can't remember the last time I woke up at 3:30 a.m. to catch a train. For a while I thought we might miss it because it took us over 30 minutes just to get a taxi. But we made it. 3 hours later, we arrived in Bukhara, once rival Baghdad, the heart of Islamic culture and science. On the way into the city, finally I learned the name of that song I've been hearing everywhere from our taxi driver. It's called Hastamanu. And I swear, 2 out of every 3 taxi rides, it was playing. I don't speak the language, but even though I could hum along by the end. After finally learning the name of that hit song, I had a feeling today was going to be a good day. And our first stop is Chor Minor. Built in the early 17th century, it was once a small Islamic school with 4 little towers and each in a slightly different style. Hidden in a quiet neighborhood, it looks more like something from a fairy tale than a religious school. And it became even more famous after landing on the cover of Lonely Planet's Guides to Central Asia. The area seems to have gone through a recent facelift, newly restored streets, styled to look historic. And now we arrive at Nadir Divan-Beghi Madrasah. Right out front, there is a statue of Nasruddin, the wise fool from Central Asia folklore. This madrasa was originally planned as a caravanserai until the ruler decided to turn it into a religious school. Honestly, it would have made a 5-star den with that prime location and the stunning facade. Take a closer look at the arch. You will spot 2 Seymour birds, mystical creatures from Persian lore. Graceful and rare to see in Islamic art, they hint at Bukhara's own unique artistic flavor, just like Samarkand. And right across the street, yep, another madrasa, Kukaldosh. You have to wonder, were they rivals back in the day? Because opening one right next door feels a little intense. This madrasa is actually one of the oldest surviving buildings in town. It once served not just as a school, but also a Silk Road inn, a defensive fortress, and even an execution site. And just a few steps away, this is the Bathhouse, the heart of Bukhara's old town, a quiet square built around a 17th century pool, which is a perfect spot to slow down and enjoy a coffee by the water. Although many streets have recently been restored to look more historic, Bukhara's old town is still full of centuries-old relics at every turn. Imagine ancient caravans loading nearby inns, exchanging currencies or news here at Toki Sarrofon, then heading to the 9th century Magok-i-Attari Mosque, now a carpet museum for prayers, and finally unwinding at the old Bathhouse next door. What a scene that must have been on the Silk Road. In Bukhara's old town, every few steps take you back a few centuries, and just like that, we have arrived at our next stop. I can't remember how many times I've seen 2 madrasas built right next to each other, and I can't help but wonder again, was the competition between them really that intense? But seriously, these 2 feels like neighbors with completely different vibes. Ulugbek Madrasah built in the 15th centuries, and it's all about symmetry, logic, and learning. Then came Abdulaziz Khan's Madrasa, built 2 centuries later, and it is bold, lavish, and almost like saying, Knowledge is great, but have you seen my tiles? And to be honest, it's fair enough. Your tiles are stunning. And just a short walk ahead, we arrive at Po-i-Kalan, the iconic heart of Bukhara. Even Genghis Khan was amazed by the greatness of this structure. And let me tell you, this minaret is massive. We climbed a minaret in Samarkand once, and now I'm just standing here thinking, is this one open to visitors as well? Inside the mosque, the entrance corridor is super photogenic. You can get that perfect view of the blue dome framed by the arches. The interior of the mosque is understated but beautiful and elegant. There is a real stillness here, a sense of peace and sacredness in the air. But then the midday heat kicked in, and suddenly the crowded were gone. Or maybe I just passed out for a second. Either way, time for lunch. Just as we stepped back outside, we ran into a small crowd. It turned out they were filming a dance scene. I'm not sure what it was for, but suddenly a group of girls in traditional Uzbek dresses began dancing right in the square. And lucky us, we got to enjoy a front row performance for 3-4 minutes. I think that's the magic of travel. You'll never know when you will stumble into something unexpectedly wonderful. It was boiling out, so we just picked the nearest spot. After lunch, our next stop is Bolo House Mosque. To be honest, after visiting so many mosques over the past few days, I have to admit that I was starting to feel a little architecture fatigue. But this one felt refreshingly different. Built in early 18th century as Bukhara's royal mosque, Bathhouse stands out with its 20 beautifully carved wooden pillars and a serene reflecting pool. The mosque was closed when we visit, but even from the outside, it's a small architectural treasure. Just around the corner across this road, this is our final stop, the Ark of Bukhara. This massive fortress dates back over 2,000 years. Imagine a mix between a palace, a military base, and a government center. This was the emir's stronghold. This massive fortress houses some small exhibitions today on the emirate and its history. But the real highlight, in my opinion, is wandering through the sandy ruin at the back. It feels like as if I have stepped into a sepia-toned Silk Road movie. And if you walk into the inner part, from the elevated wall, you will get a sweeping view of the old city. Today it might just look like a dusty patch of earth, but as I wandered through this sandy ruin under the scorching sun, I couldn't help but imagine how grand this place must have been during the height of the Silk Road. From finally learning the name of that catchy Uzbek hit song to walking through centuries of history and art, Bukhara feels like a time machine. Because of time constraints, we only cover the main highlights, from Chor Minor and walking straight through without backtracking. If you are planning a day trip here, the route works pretty well. But if you can, I would definitely recommend staying overnight and exploring slowly. Thanks for coming along, and see you in the next one.